Friday edition of hiatus style PFT Live, PFT PM, July 30, getting closer and closer to the start of the preseason. Hall of Fame weekend coming up, every team in camp. And let's continue to talk about the biggest story in the National Football League. Look, I don't pick the stories pick me. Aaron Rodgers officially has his new contract in place with the Green Bay Packers. As expected, even though GM Brian Gutekunst was coy about this when he met with reporters on Thursday. As it turns out, the Packers had already reduced to writing their willingness to remove the 2023 season from the Aaron Rodgers contract and had given it to Rodgers' agents 2 days before Gutekunst said, well, we may alter the length of the contract. They'd already put it in writing. They'd already included the term, which makes the 2023 season void 7 days before the start of the league year if he's on the roster 7 days before the start of the 2023 league year. That cuts off the ability of the Packers to apply the franchise tag or the transition tag. He will be a free agent no later than the first day of free agency come 2023. The question is, what about 2022? What leverage does he have? As it turns out, he's got the same leverage he always had. Because at the end of the day, and there was some reporting that wasn't entirely accurate, is that the most diplomatic way to say it, from folks like Shefty and others, that the Packers had waived their ability to recover $11.5 million in previously paid but not yet earned signing bonus money to Aaron Rodgers as part of this new contract. They didn't waive their ability to collect that. They've waived their ability to collect other bonus payments that have been made, including the one that was made now to reduce his cap number by pushing cap dollars into future years. But that $11.5 million that he was already on the hook for, still on the hook for it if he holds out or retires next year. Theoretically, my understanding is the Packers have told him they will not try to get any money back from him. But as I've said all week long, verbal promises when you're dealing with a corporation, not worth the paper they're not printed upon. So we go forward with this awkward, dysfunctional relationship. And I watched all of the Brian Gutekunst press conference. I've seen all of the Aaron Rodgers press conference. They clearly are not on the same page. Rodgers characterized his relationship with Gutekunst as professional. Gutekunst expressed an interest in trying to mend fences with Rodgers, but he said, and I'm paraphrasing, you need two parties to be willing to do it, which I interpret as meaning that he's not so sure Aaron Rodgers wants to do it. And this gets back to that fundamental question of when does an employee stop being an employee? When is a player treated like something more than a player? And the bottom line, and this dawned on me yesterday, if Aaron Rodgers was ready to hand the baton to Jordan Love, stated more accurately, because I kind of screwed up there and I was trying to cover it, but I couldn't find a good way to do it. If Jordan Love was ready, Aaron Rodgers would be gone. It's that simple. If they thought Jordan Love was ready to step in and run that offense the way they want it to be run, he'd be the starter and Aaron Rodgers would be the former Packers quarterback. But Love isn't ready. Now, when they drafted him, April of 2020, during the pandemic, I don't know how much foresight they should have been expected to apply, but I don't know. Could you have envisioned at that point the guy's not going to get a single preseason rep because there's not going to be a preseason? So he got no reps at all last year in game settings. This year, he's going to get that chance to develop in the preseason. What will the Packers think? And that's one thing that Brian Gutekunst said yesterday. Not that I take anything anyone says at a press conference at face value. He's going to worry about 2022 when it arrives. For now, they're all in on 2021. They'll decide after the season what's happening beyond that. But there's a chance they'll decide Jordan Love's not ready after 2021. Then what do you do? Do you renege on your promise to not recover signing bonus money from Aaron Rodgers if he holds out or retires? Do you tell him you expect him to stay even if he wants to go? It worked this year. They held firm this year and they got what they wanted. There's been nothing that's happened this year that would cause the Packers to think they should do anything differently next year if next year they believe Aaron Rodgers is the better option at quarterback than Jordan Love. And this is the fundamental reality that's coming into focus. And I thought it was interesting to say that Brian Gutekunst believes the Packers are bearing the brunt of the way the NFL business typically operates. Here's how it operates. You've got a 53-man roster. It expands to 90 every offseason. Through training camp and the preseason, decisions are made to take that 90 and shrink it to 53. Throughout the course of the season, decisions are made to get rid of some guys, bring in other guys. It's a constant churn. It's constantly looking, how can we upgrade our roster? And some positions are untouchable. And I think the cold water in the face for Aaron Rodgers has been the reality, as manifested by the drafting of Jordan Love, that he's not untouchable. So from the team's perspective, this is just the way it works in every NFL locker room. Every team has that dispassionate, objective, emotionless, heartless approach to the roster, because there's always going to be more guys who want jobs than jobs are available. And there's always going to be guys who have jobs for now and who are about to find out they don't anymore. And there's a certain hardening of the soul and the spirit that a front office executive needs to have, because these names just come and go. And the teams are going to be there in perpetuity. The players are constantly going to change. At some point, that relationship with every player is going to end. And I think there's some irritation from Brian Gutekunst's perspective that Aaron Rodgers maybe doesn't see the big picture the way that other players do. And Aaron Rodgers is rocking the boat the way that other players don't. And that time-honored tradition, it really started with the Patriots, but Gutekunst has expressed a desire to follow this idea as well. Getting rid of a guy 1 year too early instead of 1 year too late. Rodgers' approach would result in getting rid of guys 1 year too late, and also along the way slowing the development of the guy who would have stepped in if that guy wasn't kept around longer than he should have been. And see, that's where, if Aaron Rodgers got his way and all these guys who became his friends and loyal teammates and he knew who he was dealing with, he knew he could trust, if they stay and then they stink, like, well, I was wrong about that guy. See, the job of the GM hinges on not being wrong when it comes to making those decisions. And at one point, Gutekunst was asked whether or not having to bring back a Randall Cobb, a guy that they didn't re-sign in 2019 when he ultimately signed with the Cowboys, 1 year, $5 million, didn't sign him again in 2020 when he became available, traded for him at the behest of Aaron Rodgers. Does that make Brian Gutekunst's job more difficult? And he said, it does. It does. Job's hard enough. Plenty of things make it hard. But yeah, if on top of everything else you're trying to do to craft the best possible roster that you can, you've got a quarterback who has transcended mere employee status, who's trying to tell you who to go out and sign, even if that's not someone you would sign or trade for or whatever. The cap dollars that are invested in that player, $5.25 million in guaranteed salary for Cobb this year, that money would have gone to someone else if Brian Gutekunst didn't feel like he had to placate Aaron Rodgers. So the bottom line is this, and this is kind of what I saw coming all along. Rodgers shows up, but we have dysfunction all year long. We have issues all year long. We have tension all year long. But you know what? If they win football games, it won't matter. If they go 13-3 again, well, I can guarantee you one thing. There aren't many things I'll guarantee you. I will guarantee you this. The Packers will not go 13-3 in 2021 because there's 17 games. But let's say they go 14-3 or 13-4 again. Even then, if everything goes great, you set aside the personal issues, you set aside the tension, you make good decisions for the football team. And if Jordan Love isn't ready, then Aaron Rodgers maybe stays put through 2022 and then becomes a free agent at the beginning of the league year in 2023.